Hey guys, welcome to another derailleur rebuild video. Today we're rebuilding this light action L512 derailleur. Make sure you have the right one, check on the back, make sure it says RD L512. And no, this is not when it's after restoration. I just happen to have this one in really good condition. So we're just going to be relubing all the pulleys and springs. Some tools you're going to need are Allen set, a pick, some pliers, a nut driver or a wrench, and a screwdriver. Alright, so now that the adjuster screws and the clamp bolt and the pulley bolts are out, now it's time to service the springs, which is the more difficult part. Alright, so it turns out the B spring is actually not serviceable. Under that seal is just a clip, but this little pin here is riveted on, so sadly you can't service the B spring, so let's move on to the P spring. Alright, so for the P spring, bring out your pick and just pick out this little clip. Now you're going to take this metal washer and you want to get this part around that. So just grab it and pull it outwards very slowly because it's going to spring back. Alright, so first comes off the retaining ring, and then the bolt, and then the spring. Okay, so on the other side you can see a seal here. It's pretty hard to take out, so I recommend leaving it in, but if it pops out easily for you, just go ahead and clean it. Alright, so this is as far as the derailleur comes apart. Now time for cleaning. For the cleaning, you can use any type of cleaner or degreaser. Just make sure to stay away from some of the plastic parts. There are many in the parallelogram too. There's one right here, and there's another swing arm on this other side there. So don't use anything that harms plastic. Alright, so in my case, I'm using this ultrasonic cleaner. All I do is just add some soap and water. And if you're using one, make sure not to put the B-knuckle spring side in the water because you don't want to submerge the spring. And finally, let's add some soap. Alright, so after all the parts are cleaned down and dry, now it's time to give it some wax. This is optional but recommended just to protect it from rust and corrosion. For chrome, I'm going to use this Quick-Glo wax, and for aluminum, I'm going to use this Autosol. So as you see, my parallelogram here is in pretty good condition, and I'm just going to be polishing it. But if it's really corroded, you might want to sand it. Alright, now I'm just applying some of the chrome wax to this parallelogram and the cage. Make sure to apply some to this linkage arm too, and for these bolts over here, only do the top of them. Alright, so with everything polished down, it's now time to assemble, and another thing you're going to need is grease. Alright, so first order of business is just greasing up that little P-knuckle spring, and then just go ahead and insert the bolt when you greased it up. Alright, so when the bolt is in, insert the spring into the little hole in there with the short end in. Alright, so when you get the spring in, grease up this little retaining ring as long as the shaft and insert it on. Alright, so now comes the tough procedure of getting this ring all the way around behind this. So what I do is I clamp this part with a pair of pliers and just kind of move it around and over. While doing that, I also hold this part with my fingers so it doesn't go sideways and screw it up. Alright, so this one was pretty easy. The spring is not too heavy, so got a first try. So then you get your clip and slide it on. Alright, so once you get the clip on, the hard part is done, and now it's time to do the pulleys. Alright, so both of the pulleys are a single plastic bushing type, so there's just this plastic pulley and this little metal bushing. So what you want to do is just put a little bit of grease on the inside of the plastic and a little bit of grease inside of the steel bushing, or just put some on the bolt. And just put the pulley on, and don't forget the little seals. Alright, so after you did that, just same thing for the tension pulley, and just tighten down the bolts. And another thing I gotta say is this thing is looking really, really clean. Alright, so then just put on the barrel adjuster and the clamp bolt, and you got yourself a beautiful square body looking rebuilt derailleur. I really love this derailleur turned out. Its boxy chrome design reminds me of a second gen Crown Vic. And even though it's not as serviceable, it's still a strong, durable derailleur resembling the deer head. So remember guys, if you have an old derailleur like this, don't replace it, just rebuild it. Don't be afraid to use these older parts. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.